Well, this is Steve Ridgel, and I have a couple of part-time jobs. One's for Hillcrest Church of Christ here in Abilene, Texas, and I'm a local evangelist. I talk about Jesus, but part of my job responsibilities and something I enjoy doing is encouraging our people and equipping our people at Hillcrest to talk to their friends about Jesus. My other part-time job is with Herald of Truth, and I go around the United States and talk about Jesus and encourage and equip people to talk about Jesus. And I do that by encouraging people to tell stories. You know, that's how Jesus taught. If you look at Matthew 13:34, it says Jesus didn't teach anything except by using parables. And of course, parables are stories. The oft-repeated definition you've heard is that parables are a story with a spiritual meaning. And that's true. And look at the teaching of Jesus. Particularly read Matthew 18, Matthew 25, Luke 13, 15, 16, 18. And look at all the stories Jesus tells. He tells stories from the Old Testament. He tells stories from nature. He looks at an animal and tells a story. He sees a field and tells a story. He tells stories about family dynamics. He tells stories about people. Jesus just talks about stories. He sees things and tells stories. Those of you that regularly watch this YouTube channel know that oftentimes I'll see something or read something or see some story and I'll talk about it and how it helps me think about Jesus. I figure if that's how Jesus taught people, then that ought to work for us. And after all, stories are really easy to tell because you're a natural storyteller. If I were sitting there in person and asked you to tell me a story about your mate when you were dating, you could. If I asked you to tell me a story about your kids or your grandkids, you could. If I said, tell me a story about your favorite sports team, tell me a story from college, tell me a story about hunting or fishing or golf or sewing or shopping, or you could do that. We naturally tell stories to each other. And so I will tell you, telling your story, your Jesus story, telling stories about Jesus from Scripture, stories of faith in your community of faith. That's the most natural way to share Jesus with people. Now, some of you are thinking, I think I've heard some of that. Yes, I do a seminar called Can I Tell You a Story? I have a book, Can I Tell You a Story, that kind of talks about using stories. So periodically on this channel, I'm just going to share some of that material. So today I wanted to tell you a little bit about why stories work, because Jesus used them, and because you are a natural storyteller. You can do that now. Next time I do one of these, we may talk a little bit about why stories work, especially in our culture. But for now, I'd encourage you to be telling your Jesus story and be sharing Jesus stories with other people. Well, this is Steve Ridgel telling you I enjoy a good story.